Before we start, think about the last time you may have felt stressed, overwhelmed, or just totally burned out. Now imagine you feel that way and you don't know where to go for help. That's the reality for a lot of students on campuses, and it's why we chose this topic. Hello everyone, my name is Riley, and alongside Sophia Grimsley and Lexi Kavanaugh, we created a business proposal called Improving Mental Health Support for Boise State Students. Our project looks at how Boise State can strengthen their mental health support that students rely on. We focus on understanding what the current gaps are, exploring a few possible solutions, recommending one that makes the most sense, and also putting together a simple plan for how the university could roll this idea out. So, let's start with the opportunity that we saw. College students today are dealing with a whole lot. Higher stress levels, more isolation, and more pressure to keep up. A national study with over 2,000 students found that the pandemic has impacted this topic a lot, and that 9 out of 10 students say that there's a real mental health crisis happening on campuses, according to HAL in 2022. Now that tells us that this isn't a small issue and that it really needs to be addressed. Boise State University already offers counseling services at the Norco building, including individual sessions, couples or group counseling, and walk-in crisis support. Now, these are all great resources, but most of them are only available during regular hours. And the problem is that many students struggle during evenings, weekends, or any time where help isn't accessible. And that's where we saw a clear gap. Now, because of these limitations, there's a clear opportunity for Boise State to strengthen its mental health infrastructure with additional, flexible, and accessible resources. Doing so could more effectively support student well-being, demonstrate commitment to success and innovation, and also benefit the entire institution.
According to Boise State's website, intake appointments usually take 1 to 2 weeks, which can feel like a really long time for someone who is struggling. Walk-in crisis services do exist, but they only operate during specific hours. Students need support that is immediate, flexible, and available during evenings, weekends, and high-stress times. Our goal is to identify a solution that makes mental health support more accessible during the moments that students really need it. The first alternative is expanding the walk-in crisis service hours. This would give students more opportunities to get help without waiting for an appointment. Extended hours would especially benefit students who work, have night classes, or who struggle most during evenings and weekends. The limitation is that extending hours requires more staffing, which increases cost, and although it improves access at the moment, it does not address the problem of long wait times for intake appointments. The second alternative is adopting an AI wellness tool. These tools give students 24/7 confidential support and coping strategies. According to a study conducted by Jasmine Reyes-Portillo, universities that use them have seen waitlists decrease by 25 to 30%, and students report improvements in anxiety, depression, and overall well-being. However, AI cannot replace a therapist, and it has to be monitored very carefully for privacy, safety, and accuracy. This option offers constant availability, but not the personal connection that many students prefer when opening up about mental health. The final and recommended alternative is adding a peer ambassador program. This model trains students to support their peers, help them navigate campus resources, and offers a more comfortable first step for anyone who might feel intimidated by formal counseling. Research shows that many students, especially those from minority or first-generation backgrounds, naturally turn to peers first, which means a program like this can help students reach support earlier and reduce pressure on counseling services. A key challenge is that the ambassadors are students themselves, so the program would need clear boundaries and strong supervision to keep them safe and prevent burnout. But with the right structure, peer ambassadors can make the whole process move faster by guiding students to the right resources sooner and easing the volume of students waiting for intake appointments.
Hi everyone, my name is Lexi, and I'm going to dive deeper into the rationale portion of this first. So on my graph that I showed, my graph gives a good visual of what these statistics actually are and how big it actually is of a difference. So going into the first aspect of that, we have 19,000 students here on campus, and 70% of those students do deal with mental health issues. With that, we do have around 3,000 staff members, but only 15 of those staff members are actually mental health certified, can go to counseling, and can take students in for counseling. Yes, all of our other staff are obviously available if there is really a big problem. However, we only have so many certified staff members who can actually do that. And in the graph, it does show a good visual of how big of a jump that is and how little counselors we have versus how many students we have. Over 50% of our staff, or 50% of our students, do deal with mental health issues, so it is very unlikely for a student to get into counseling at a quick pace. Yes, you can go off campus, yes, you can go and do that, but all of us are college students. A lot of us don't have the money to go and pay for a counselor in mental health, so having it on campus and as a resource is something that's very important for a school. Going into our actual plan of how we could get more counselors onto campus to help with mental health, we would start this plan in November of 2026, or November of 2025, sorry. We would start off by actually dishing the idea out to the public for students to see and really drawing them in, trying to market and show like why this is a problem and give everyone a reasoning and why we need to fix this. Then going into January of 2026, we would start looking further into sending out a petition and seeing how many signatures we could get to see if we could actually get this into full effect. If we did end up getting all of the signatures for this petition, we would start meeting with the school in May of 2026. So here in a couple months, we would sit down with the school and really get a better general idea of how we could get this to actually happen. So talk about a lot of the things like money and funding, which we would reach and jump into October of 2026 after we fully got a game plan down with the school on how we can actually get to this. Then we would talk a lot deeper into funding, whether it's raising money or maybe getting the school to fund it in general. But when we do start funding, if the school were to take it, we would have to try and convince, because there's a good chance that they would either have to defund from other programs or they would have to pull out extra money to try and fix the problem. So really trying to get the school on board and understand why this is a big problem for us students. Then in January of 2027, we would look more into the hiring, so go over and see, who's reliable, how many people we could get into the position. A lot of it does have to do with our funding, because a lot of these people, obviously, they do need to get paid decent money in order for them to work and want to help our students. Then we would hopefully be able to have this plan into May of 2027, so towards the end of that school year, but we would have it fully intact up in August of 2027 for the following school year to have a full plan.
Implementing the Peer Wellness Ambassador Program at Boise State University offers a practical, year-long initiative to expand mental health support on campus. By training and employing ambassadors, the university can provide peer-led guidance, increase early intervention, and make mental health resources more accessible to students. This program demonstrates the university's commitment to student well-being, strengthening its reputation as a caring and proactive institution. In turn, supporting students' mental health can improve academic performance, satisfaction, and retention, ultimately benefiting both the student body and university as a whole. We thank you for your consideration and look forward to the possibility of supporting student wellness through this program.